She's been branded the world's most overrated celebrity by the Guinness World of Records. But to her fans, Paris Hilton is a 21st century icon.
Paris Hilton gets a bad rap for being a ditzy blonde, but I actually commend her for being so confident with who she is and for being so funny and likable. And I do think she's a good role model for young girls all over.
It's fair to say that the great-granddaughter of Hilton Empire founder Conrad Hilton could simply have sat back and enjoyed the high life, instead of devoting herself religiously to the cause of becoming the world's most celebrated socialite. But this little rich girl is determined to pay her own way.
I just enjoy making my own money and not having to ask my parents for anything. It makes me feel good about myself. And it's a lot of fun just to be able to buy whatever I want and do it on my own and not ask anybody. And I love to work. It's fun for me.
And since being expelled from the Canterbury boarding school in Connecticut in 1999, the paparazzi magnate has built up an incredibly impressive CV. As well as winning a VH1 award for coining the phrase "that's hot," she can now lay claim to the titles of model, singer, songwriter, author, fashion designer, actress, and entrepreneur. Her knack for converting celebrity into cold hard cash first emerged in 2003 with the release of a reality TV show in which she starred with her childhood best friend Nicole Richie. The Simple Life highlighted the two socialites' ignorance of how the other half lived through their struggle to perform manual labor in low-paying jobs. The first series forced them to leave behind their cell phones and credit cards and move in with a family in Arkansas for a month. Ratings of the Fox show went through the roof, and despite having wreaked havoc on the community, the little town of Altus commemorated their stay by naming streets after Paris and Nicole.
I didn't know that they were going to name streets after Nicole and I think that's awesome. It's fun and something to, like, when I come back to visit, to show, like, my friends or family who I bring back here.
I just think it's so weird. It's weird. It's cool. It's really cool. My dad has Ritchie Street in Tuskegee, Alabama, so now we both have streets named after us, which is so weird because that's not, I guess, a normal thing that a father and daughter have in common.
2 more seasons of the show followed on Fox before a falling out between the two stars put it on hold. By that time, however, Paris had already begun capitalizing on her Simple Life fame to explore other career opportunities. First up was the job of penning her autobiography, Confessions of an Heiress, a tongue-in-cheek peek behind the pose. Panned by critics for its amateurish writing and lightweight content, it became a New York Times bestseller. She followed it up with a provocatively titled Your Heiress Diary, Confess It All to Me. In 2005, she was proud to promote her first major movie role in the teen horror House of Wax.
I love scary movies. I always have my whole life, and they're fun to watch. It's fun to get scared and scream and not be able to sleep that night. The nightmares are sometimes bad, but it's cool to experience that just by watching a movie.
She was delighted to accept the part of a young woman who comes to a gruesome end at the hands of a psycho killer.
I was just excited because, you know, if you do a horror film, you want to have a death scene, and the way I went out was pretty cool.
And her co-star Chad Michael Murray was happy to dispel suggestions of any diva-like behavior on set.
Paris, you know, it's funny, you know, everyone carries a stereotype around, and I don't believe in stereotypes. I don't like to listen to them. I want to kind of judge it for myself. I want to see it for myself, and I'm glad I did, because she came in and she impressed everybody. You know, she was nice, she never complained, and she just showed up and did it.
Her much-hyped death scene ended up winning her a Teen Choice Award for Best Scream. Unfortunately, it also earned her a 2005 Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Supporting Actress.
How do you feel about winning the Razzie? Okay. Never mind. So what are you wearing?
I don't want to do this interview now.
Okay.
But she wasn't going to let that disappointment keep her down for long. When asked what was next on her agenda, she replied,
I'm going to be doing a lot. You'll be seeing a lot of me.
True to her word, Paris was all over the media like a rash in 2006, popping up as a model for Julian McDonald's new collection and shopping for diamonds in LA.
They just last forever. When a guy gives you a diamond, you know he really loves you. And they're beautiful. It's like the best stone, I think, of all of them.
She was looking for a little something special to wear to her favorite networking event of the year.
I love the Oscars because I love the party. It's a lot of fun, and it's just everyone comes out and has a good time. It's like old Hollywood glamour, and everyone's dressed up to tease, so it's cool.
Then, having already put her name to her first perfume the previous year, she was ready to launch another.
This is for just me, my new fragrance, yeah. All my fragrances are completely different. This is more floral. Last time it was a little bit more fruity.
How much input do you have in designing fragrances?
Well, I go to all the factories and smell the scents and pick out what I like best, and then pick the bottles, and I'm involved in the whole process.
At the launch, her proud mother, Kathy, presented her with a crystal-encrusted microphone to celebrate the forthcoming release of her daughter's next exciting venture. The next item to roll off the Paris Hilton production line was an album, simply entitled Paris.
Yeah, I was down in Miami for a couple months with Scott Storch, and I was writing my own music and going over the beats with him, and basically did half my album I wrote. He's one of my best friends. He's so sweet and so much fun to hang out with, and just a musical genius, and I'm really happy to have him on my album.
While some people with no background in music may have been daunted by the prospect of taking on such a challenge, Paris was feeling pretty confident.
You know, it's kind of different because most artists, before you hear their music, you've never really heard of them. With me, people have already seen me on The Simple Life and doing other things. So it's, I don't know, it's different.
And for those left bewildered by her sudden foray into the world of pop, she had this simple message.
I love to work, I love to create, I love to entertain, so I think with what I do, it's perfect for me, and I just enjoy doing it more and more.
Her first single reached number 15 on the Billboard chart, and the album peaked at number 6 in the US, with AllMusic declaring it more fun than anything Britney Spears has ever released. Determined to prove that she's more than a one-hit wonder, Paris has been working away on a second album, which she claims is more dance-focused, although she insists it won't just reflect the electro jam style of her Paris for President video of 2008.
You know, they're not all fast songs. There's some like slow songs in there as well, but most of the songs are fast because I love going to clubs and I love that world. And I love Kylie Minogue, so it's just really inspired by her.
The album will include the theme song she recorded for her reality TV show, My BFF, which follows her search to find a new best friend. And her requirements were simple.
So I just want someone I can trust, someone I can tell anything to and know it's not going to get out, and someone who's a good person in their heart.
Supported by her mother Kathy, her brother Conrad, her dad Rick, and her little sister Nikki at the premiere, Paris was giving hints about the sort of person that might qualify for the role of her new BFF.
I can usually tell by people when I'm with them, maybe like on Robertson Boulevard or, at the Ivy, and just see how they react to the paparazzi. Some girls get like really kind of desperate, and then other people are just like, whatever, who cares, like, it doesn't affect them.
Growing more and more astute as a businesswoman, she doubled up as co-producer of the show, alongside American Idol host Ryan Seacrest. Paris also took a producing credit on the 2008 comedy The Hottie and the Nottie, in which she starred as the Hottie and won a lot of fans on set.
She just showed up and shook everybody's hand and was just so friendly. In between takes would curl up in the corner like a little kitten, and I mean, within about 2 hours, the entire crew fell in love with her, and that was pretty cool.
I guess that when I first met her, I thought, oh, well, maybe she won't give me the time of day, and that's fine. Like, I was prepared for that. So I guess the thing that also surprised me was just like how welcoming and like generous and really sweet she was to me. So, that always surprises me in Hollywood because people can be so kind of flaky and stuff. So
by the age of 27, she'd achieved so much, she was ready to start giving away the odd secret to her success. as she moved on to her next big project, launching a range of handbags.
It's all about confidence, like I said before, and that's why I'd named my line that, because I think if a girl has confidence and believes in herself, anything is possible. You know, I had a dream to do all this. I worked really hard, I had a lot of confidence, and it's brought me to where I am today, and that's what I owe it to.
As she mingled with fans in Denmark, she revealed that the new addition to her empire was just the tip of the iceberg. Having built up a huge range of accessories that included a jewelry line for dogs, she was now ready to start opening her very own stores.
So we're going to be doing 400 of these shops, and we're very excited. We're actually opening the first ones in Hamburg, in the airport, and Manchester. And we're going to be doing them in the Middle East, in Tokyo, all over Asia. You know, just keep expanding. It's very exciting. The shops are really beautiful. They're actually done by Danish designers, and they are just totally my style, and it's just so exciting because this is like a dream come true. This is always what I wanted.
While she has been steadily building up her credibility as a shrewd businesswoman and media personality, Paris Hilton still has a long way to go to break free from her reputation as a party-loving publicity junkie who squanders the privilege of celebrity and shirks her responsibility as a role model. After earning the label of New York's leading it girl in 2001, she became the embodiment of the term famous for being famous, by parading herself and her beloved Chihuahua Tinkerbell at parties, premieres, and the odd opening of an envelope. Her appetite for the high life earned her derision in the press and cemented her image as the ultimate spoiled brat.
It's a lot of fun. I love my fans, and I get like little gifts and people. It just makes me feel really good to see how many people love me, and just the things they say, it really makes me happy.
But in 2003, her love affair with the camera brought her slightly more exposure than even she could have wished for, when she and her then boyfriend Rick Salomon decided to tape a night of their lovemaking. When the video turned up on the internet entitled One Night in Paris, it looked like she'd finally bitten off more than she could chew. Proving himself to be almost as wily in business as Paris, Rick then struck a distribution deal with a DVD company and even gave an introduction at the start of each scene on the video. He took his grab for cash even further by suing Paris for defamation, for publicly claiming that she'd been out of it when the tape was being made. She in turn sued over the release of the video and was awarded $400,000. A few months later, while still glowing red from that embarrassment, she was faced with the humiliating task of ringing round all her celebrity mates and confessing that someone had hacked into her phone. The numbers and email addresses of A-listers like Eminem, Vin Diesel, Lindsay Lohan and Christina Aguilera had found their way onto the web. But all of Paris's former misdemeanors paled into insignificance next to the chain of events that would finally spell the end of her reign as a carefree party queen. In September 2006, she was pulled over in Hollywood and arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol.
She was driving at about 12:30 in the morning. Cops said she was driving erratically, so they stopped her. She took a breathalyzer, blew a .08, which is the minimum level for drunk driving in California, and they arrested her, took her to the station.
Within no time, the place was crawling with news teams and photographers. First on the scene was TMZ.com.
Well, I called and talked to both Paris and her publicist as they were driving home from the station, and Paris was saying that she regretted what had happened. I mean, she seemed earnest about it, and her publicist said, look, this is a woman who had one margarita, and it could have happened to anybody, and a .08 is so marginal that he's not so sure that anything is going to happen, but she's taking it seriously.
Clearly not seriously enough, however. Days after pleading no contest to a reckless driving charge and being put on 36 months probation, she was caught driving on a suspended license and signed an acknowledgement that she was not permitted to drive. Just 6 weeks later, she was caught behind the wheel again. Matters were made worse by the fact she was doing 70 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. Tired of being ignored, the court sentenced Paris to 45 days in jail for violating her probation. For a young woman used to having things her way, it was a rude awakening.
Everybody wants to talk to you. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm trying to be strong right now. I'm definitely scared, but I'm ready to face my sentence. And even though this is a really hard time, I have my friends and family and my fans who support me, and it's just been really helpful.
As it turned out, however, she was nowhere near ready to trade her cell phone for a prison cell. After serving less than 2 days of her sentence, the county sheriff decided to release her on a home detention program on unspecified medical grounds. Once again, TMZ.com were all over the story like a rash.
We have law enforcement forces who are telling us, basically, her shrink said that she was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And that's why they let her get out at around 2:30 this morning.
Her early release was met with outrage.
I think it's insane, to be honest. I think if it was me or you, we'd have had to been made to spend the full term in jail, so I think we should get her back in.
I do. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. I mean, she got pulled over for a DUI, you know, she got arrested, she got put in jail. You know, if she can't deal with it, she shouldn't do time at home. I mean, she's being a wuss.
I think that it is another glaring display of how both race and money seems to get different treatments, and there seems to be a different criminal justice system for some than others.
Pleas for leniency from her family went ignored by Judge Sauer, and Paris was dragged kicking and screaming back to prison to serve out the rest of her sentence. She ended up being released 19 days later, just in time to pour her heart out on the Larry King Show and declare her newfound devotion to God and the third world. Apart from finding God and vowing to devote more time and energy to helping those less fortunate than herself, one of the lessons Paris took away from her troubles with the law was the need to pull back from her overexposure to the press. One of her first steps was to sell her beloved Hollywood mansion.
I'm going to miss my house because I love it. I really designed it to be my perfect taste, but it's just too many people know where I live, and I'd rather be in a gated community.
While Paris may now be making more attempts to maintain some privacy, she remains well aware that she owes all of her fame and success to the media.
You know, yeah, obviously, like, I'll sometimes think everybody's always watching me. There's never not someone looking at me or taking a picture, so it gets hard, but, you know, that's the business I've chose to be in, and you just have to live with it.
But that certainly doesn't mean she agrees with everything she reads about herself.
Yeah, the press definitely lies about a lot of things, and basically everything I read is untrue, so I just don't pay attention.
Which is just as well, when you add up the thousands of gossip column inches that have been dedicated to Paris Hilton's so-called private life. Much of the media's fascination has revolved around her on and off friendship with her Simple Life co-star Nicole Richie. The childhood friends and party partners went from being inseparable to becoming arch enemies overnight. While neither of them officially gave reasons for the feud, rumours abounded that Nicole had fallen foul of the heiress by screening one night in Paris for friends at a private party. Whatever the cause of the rift, things remained very frosty between the former besties for years afterwards. And when Paris went solo with her own reality show, everyone saw My New BFF as a deliberate attack on Nicole. Comments from Paris's little sister Nikki only added fuel to the flames.
Yes, there's definitely been a lot of users in her life. I don't think it's necessary to name names. It's pretty obvious. So I think that she really was looking for someone who does not care about the spotlight, that at all. Someone who just genuinely wanted to hang out with her and liked her for her and no other reason.
Since then, however, they have apparently buried the hatchet, And Paris sealed her forgiveness by throwing Nicole a shower ahead of the birth of her first baby.
I'm so happy. We just had lunch yesterday and we were looking through like all our pictures, and it's so exciting. Like, she's so happy and she looks so beautiful, and I just can't wait to see the baby.
Being beaten to the punch on the baby-bearing front by her former sidekick seems to have inspired Paris to think a little more seriously about settling down herself. According to who'sdatedwho.com, she's been romantically linked to more than 60 high-profile mates, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Chris Angel, Andy Roddick, Jared Leto, Cristiano Ronaldo, and her One Night in Paris co-star Rick Salomon. Since then, there have been engagements to model Jason Shaw and Greek shipping heir Paris Latsis, as well as relationships with singer Nick Carter and another Greek shipping heir, Stavros Niarchos. Finally, in 2008, she was convinced she'd finally found her Prince Charming in Good Charlotte guitarist Benji Madden.
I'm very excited. Everything's going phenomenally well. Everything's really successful. I have an amazing relationship. I just bought a really beautiful new home, so my life has never been better. I just feel really at peace and really grateful for life.
Impervious to rumors that her hookup with the twin brother of her former best friend's boyfriend was nothing but a stunt to get back at Nicole, Paris continued to flaunt her new relationship with Benji. She even talked about having a family.
In 10 years, I want to continue doing my business and just, have a family at that point. Maybe have 2 kids by then.
A few months after announcing her intention to marry Benji on the David Letterman show, the pair confirmed they had split. But it was clear that she still had a lot to learn about discretion after getting together with the Hill star Doug Reinhardt. Once again, it seemed as though she'd never heard of playing it cool, as she paraded her new beau around Cannes.
I'm having a fabulous time. I think Cannes is the most amazing film festival there is. It's decadent, it's gorgeous, everyone's dressed up, and this is our first time here together, so we're having a lovely time.
Just 3 months into the relationship, she was laying all her cards on the table.
Just being with my boyfriend and having the best time. I love him, and this is so romantic, staying at the Hotel du Cap, and I'm loving it.
So no proposal yet?
Pardon?
No proposal yet?
April 4th.
Not yet, but we'll see what happens. We'll keep you posted.
They broke up a month later, only to get back together in August. Finally, in April 2010, they split up for good, with Paris reportedly claiming that she was worried that Doug was only with her to further his career. However, that minor setback is unlikely to put a permanent dent in Paris's plans to start a family. If there's one thing that this little rich girl has proved, it's that she won't stop till she gets what she wants. In the meantime, she'll just keep building that empire and passing on her beauty secrets to her millions of adoring fans.
To be attractive, you just have to know that you are and just be happy with yourself no matter what you look like. And then you'll be attractive because everybody's beautiful.